The Department of Animal Sciences and Industry at Kansas State University has a long and rich history, one written by the thousands of men and women who make up the Flying K. Each shares a love for the land and livestock and advancing the nation's noblest of callings, raising food. The Livestock and Meat Industry Council today celebrates that shared commitment across generations and honors the family and friends who continue Kansas State's legacy of excellence in animal science. For that purpose, LMIC presents the Don L. Good Impact Award. Don Good was a giant in animal science and industry, a man who dedicated more than 40 years to the university and the thousands of students who benefited from his far-reaching guidance. As a livestock judge, professor, coach, and industry leader, he portrayed a spirit of service and pioneering thought innate in his Ohio farm boy roots. These ideals served him well when he was named head of the department in 1966, the same year a devastating tornado destroyed the vast majority of its infrastructure. The Beef Barn, the Beef Teaching and Research Center, the Swine Teaching and Research Center, the Horse and Sheep Centers, the Feed Mill, the Poultry and Dairy Facilities, gone. But devastation and limited disaster funds spurred action, and Good worked with producers in the state to form the Livestock, Meat and Industry Council. Through LMIC, animal science and meat industry leaders channeled contributions to rebuild, implementing cutting-edge research facilities that form the basis of the modern-day campus and animal science advancements. Today, the Council continues to support the department's educational programs, facility enhancements, and research projects. You see, it was Don Good who believed the department should serve the state of Kansas to contribute to the larger livestock industry. Good believed in his students. He believed in Kansas State and driving both to excellence. Good was an evaluator of livestock and a builder of people. His integrity and foresight became the measure by which others would weigh their contributions. Don Good's passion inspired industry game changers.
This year, LMIC recognizes the Kansas State University Applied Swine Nutrition Team, a group whose 35 years of dedication have helped shape pork production worldwide.
I think the Applied Swine Nutrition Team at Kansas State is a tremendous working example of the land-grant mission in practice. Educating students that are going to be the next generation, in this case, of facilitating high-quality pork production and answering the practical questions that they have of the day.
In my opinion, I would have to say the K-State Swine Team has probably the best reputation, not only in the United States, but worldwide. And a lot of people reference their research material and what they've done there. And so I think it's just so very important what they've done for the industry.
As we go back to K-State and work with them, let's say on the research side, we're approaching them and their team as a group, asking for their advice, sharing ideas back and forth. And I think within that team environment, you're not just talking to one individual and getting one train of thought and one response back. You're getting a diversity of thought within that group. It's extremely valuable to approach a team of nutritionists and a team that's willing to have those conversations instead of just one individual. I think the group is a core feature that makes K-State what it is.
Even outside of the work that JBS Live Pork partners with the Kansas State Swine Team on, they do a plethora of projects, always with the producer in mind. I think that that's something that's still continued to be somewhat unique. I know when I go to Kansas State and I go to the website, or I go to the Swine Day, or I go to a student's talk, it is a good use of JBS's time to invest in learning what that student or one of the professors has to say, because there's a very good chance that I can take that back home and implement it. And I think that's why people gravitate towards Kansas State University to do work, because it's high integrity.
I think what sets the swine team apart at K-State is that they're very innovative. They work together well. I just think the cohesiveness and the longevity and the fact that students want to stay and work with them speak to their core values and how they have the producer's best interest at heart.
The team there has a long track record of developing the future talent. They are playing a very significant role of generating the development of the next generation of pork production professionals, both domestically and as well as with a number of international students that will go abroad.
One unique thing about the swine group at K-State is the systems approach. And what that is to me is that you are not just working with one professor, you're working with an entire group. And each one of them provides different perspectives and has different things to offer that a student really needs. I also think that that's extremely rare. I've been in several swine meetings, and people can relate to this, where they may not always agree. That is actually when we learn the most, because we see how they discuss their differences and how they argue the different perspectives in order to solve a solution. Now, when we walk out of those swine meetings, we're in unison, we're in harmony, but how it gets made is really something beautiful that I cherish and that most people will never have the privilege of seeing, that really taught us how to really gain perspective, how to utilize others, how to work as a team. And I think that that's something you won't find anywhere else besides K-State.
What I'm most thankful for coming out of that program goes back to the teamwork of the program, the way that the professors work so closely together. They encourage the graduate students to work closely together, and that's within each graduate student, but also with the other disciplines and other departments. And it's just really an emphasis of don't try to do anything on your own. There's a lot of great people out there and a lot of great resources, and they teach you to not be scared to go out and kind of ask for help and work with other people. It's such a collaborative group, and that sticks with you. Once you see the power of how that collaboration pays off for the industry, you're going to use it the rest of your life.
Something that's really profound about the group is that the support and the mentorship doesn't end when you step out of Weber Hall for the last time as a student. They continue to support you, whether it's the professors themselves or your peers that you graduated with, or perhaps somebody that graduated from Kansas State 10 years, 20 years, maybe 30 years ahead of you. And for some of us that have been out now 10 years, we're hoping to still provide mentorship to the students that went through that program. It's a tight family, and I believe truly that it is about the people. And the research and the work that we do for the producer is just really the conduit.
In my short time since graduating, I've had a lot of great opportunities, and some of those have even been international roles. And the one thing that never fails is when Kansas State gets referenced, you see it everywhere in the world, right? You see the impact of that research, you see the people, you see K-State alumni in positions all over the world right now. So thinking of the impact of the K-State program, while located in the state of Kansas, that's just a small footprint. The K-State group, I mean, you see students that are out in the world, but also the research that gets out in the world that goes well beyond Kansas, well beyond the US, and truly is global impact.
When you look back at previous award winners, they have had a defining impact on the industry. And with 19 out of the top 20 producers having influence by the Kansas State swine team, when you look globally at the number of individuals who rely on the research, when you look at the number of integrators and the millions of sows that are impacted by Kansas State, their research, and the people that they develop, impact is unmatched.
I'm confident that you wouldn't find a better group of professionals. I think that is one of the biggest impacts they have, is helping producers stay in the business when the door gets tough.
Teamwork, collaboration, sense of family, committed to a common mission that really hasn't changed. The one thing that's like so crazy unique is that you have this team of faculty that just truly enjoy working together, and it's not like my project, my student, your student, it's our project, our students, and what are we producing. And I think very student-centered, meaning they're focused on how is the work they're doing not only good for maybe the question that they're trying to answer at that time, how are they developing the student for what they're gonna do? It couldn't be any better.